Why does the black man serve the white man? Why does everything the black man do benefit the white man? Why does the black man say freedom is doing what I want to do? And why is it that everything he wants to do enriches the European?
Welcome to the desert of the real.
Peace, family. This your brother, Mr. Holipsism. I had to make a short video because this shit is. I'm getting. I don't know why I get so annoyed or why I get so angry as shit. And you would think that I would be on the side of certain things based on the logic of the discussion. I want to talk about this whole pray for Paris and the attacks, well, I don't necessarily want to talk about the attacks itself. I don't want to go into details about all of that. I'm a little bit iffy to me on ISIS involvement in it. It doesn't make much sense to me. I mean, maybe it could be. It could be an affiliate or somebody who's trying to connect themselves with ISIS. I mean, just on that level, it just sounds a little bit crazy to me. When I heard that ISIS was involved in a Paris attack, I'm like, what the fuck does Paris have to do with what ISIS is doing in their region? Doesn't make sense to me, but that's another story. What's bothering me is the hypocrisy of all parties involved in this whole pray for Paris, outrage, Negro outrage and all this other stuff. Now, do I agree that people focus more on what happens in European countries than they do in African countries? Duh. Yeah. Are Negroes just now like discovering that? Are they just now discovering that we live in America? Yeah, yeah. It's hypocritical. It shows you that they don't give a fuck about black people and African. But just a hot minute ago, well, you know what? I want to get ahead of myself. I want to address that. Yeah, it is hypocritical. Facebook has a thing up where you can pray for Paris and they have the flag up and you can put the flag on there as a sign of solidarity. They never did that with Kenya. They never did that with Nigeria. And I'll get into that because nobody seems to be talking about that either. But yeah, it is hypocritical, but it's to be expected. It's nothing new, and so I don't understand the outrage over it. It's like being outraged because this country will prop up a white person rather than a black person. Like, duh. Haven't we gotten the picture by now? Is anybody listening? Is anybody watching my videos? Really? Is anybody listening to anything the BAIO has been talking about? But anyway, yes, there's hypocrisy on that end. But let's not forget the other part of the hypocrisy. In the so-called conscious community, and especially if you look at my interactions on YouTube and on Facebook, Negro's been fighting me about us being African. We Asians, we freaking Native Americans, we everything, we Hebrew Israelite, we everything except African. So when did all of a sudden now Negroes become African? You mean that after they had an attack on Paris and somebody came out with a Pray for Paris campaign, now all of a sudden you identifying with Africa? Which gets me to the point of this video. Back in January, there were 2,000 Nigerians slaughtered by Boko Haram. This was days before the January Paris attacks. Because remember when the Charlie Hebdo attacks happened? This was days before that. Nobody said jack shit. I posted it on Facebook. I posted it on Google Plus. I posted it on Twitter. If anybody denies it, just go back to my timeline. You'll see it. Nobody said shit. Except a few dedicated, my few dedicated people who are, consistent followers and consistently like my videos and share them and whatever, which is a very small group of people. But the vast majority of the Negroes on my friends list and on Facebook didn't say jack shit about it. Then Well, they didn't even mention now that with the Pray for Paris thing going on, they didn't mention the Boko Haram thing. I guess because they didn't, do a good, thorough enough Google search, which is what they did with what happened in Kenya at the Kenyan college. 147 dead, killed, after, the gunman was killed after the attack, and this all happened on a college in Kenya. This happened back in April. The article was written on April 2nd. I posted that shit up in April. Did it get any responses? No, because before this Pray for Paris shit, we wasn't African. We wasn't identifying with nothing African. How many times I've been pushing the concept of the BAIO, land infrastructure nationhood, identifying ourselves politically as African people. And what have I been getting? Resistance, hostility. But now all of a sudden, people put out a Pray for Paris campaign, and then now all of a sudden you African now. Now you going back, well, what about Kenya? Well, what about Kenya, nigga? You didn't discover Kenya until this happened recently in Paris. Where were you in April? Where were you in January when 2,000 Africans were killed by Boko Haram in Nigeria? Where were you? So you expect me to be on your side like, oh yeah, well, I'm down for Kenya. Y'all niggas is fucking amazing, man. None of y'all gave a damn about any of those people killed in Africa until you saw that there was a Pray for Paris thing. So now, as a counter, you want to come up with, oh, what about Africa? Yeah, what about it, nigga? What about it? What was you saying about it before this Paris attack happened? Not a damn thing. I swear, man. I said it before and I'll say it again. The reason why people is bringing up Kenya, they haven't brought up Boko Haram. Let me put that out there so you can start a meme on that. Just look it up on Google. 2,000 Nigerians were slaughtered by Boko Haram. Just do a Google search on it so you can add that to your hypocritical memes. The only reason why anybody is saying anything about this is because it gets back to what I was saying before. We are in love. Our people are in love with white folks. It's almost like you ever had those relationships in your family where you got two people who can't stand it, like they fight and they fight and they fight, but they together all the time. They'll fight and they'll make up, fight and make up, because it's that Mr. and Mrs. Smith mentality, and it's that Batman versus the Joker mentality. That's the relationship that these Negroes have with white folks. Instead of being intellectually consistent and being real and being for nationhood and identifying yourself politically as an African, watch, after this Pray for Paris thing is over, try going to one of these Negroes and calling them African and see what happened. Nobody gives a damn. They're going to turn right back to being Native American again, right back to being Hebrew Israelite again, right back to being any other thing that you want to name other than African. But when the white man props up something that's going on in Europe, now all of a sudden you want to use Africa as a counter to that. So basically, we're Batman, the white man is the Joker. All we want to do is engage in a tit for tat with white people. We don't ever become black until they promote something that happened to them or push some white thing on us, and then now all of a sudden we want to counter with the African thing. Listen, man, I'm tired of this convenient bullshit. I really am. I'm tired of these convenient nationalist niggas. I've been on the African thing. I've been African-centered for mostly all of my life. I didn't just raise the red, black, and green as a counter to people raising up the flag of France and Paris. I've been about this all of my life. And it's just a little bit fucking irritating for me to sit back and listen to these people, oh yeah, y'all ain't talking about Kenya. You ain't talking about this and that. Why you always raise your... You know what? It's enough hypocrisy to go around. White folks is hypocritical. We all know that. But there's a lot of these black hypocritical Negroes who push this stuff out, and they think that I'm just going to slip back and let it slide because it happens to be pro-Africa. Nah, if you're going to be pro-Africa, don't be conveniently pro-Africa. Be African-centered all day, every day, 100%. Or else don't be it at all. Anyway, that's all I got to say, man. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.